guys. Thinking we're here. Maybe. Or maybe not. Yeah, I think we're here. I think so. So this is going to be a quick, won't be much of an update. We missed last week because I was in another location. It's been a busy week. I'm back home now. It's going to be another busy week, but we'll see. And then back to work, and it's going to be another busy week. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, we should have a bit of a mess with a couple of things. Pretty badly sunburnt. Bit sore. Sitting here, my phone won't charge for some reason. I'm using it as a hotspot for this live stream because there's no other Wi-Fi. So we're sort of average at the moment. But anyway, hey, Peter, I've got an apology for Peter because I didn't get his his awesome package mailed before I went. Get your tracking number tomorrow. No problems at all. I'll go around there first thing and get that. Sorry, Peter. I'll do up a package in the morning. What else did we do? Went to Foundry. Made 2 of these up, which is sort of okay. Right, they'll clean up. It's a bit of work in them. One of them's quite good. The other one's got a bit of tear out. Probably next time I make a different pattern or put some more effort into it, was pretty poor. But I think they'll fire up. They're aluminium. They'll file up. They're aluminium. Thanks, Peter. I'll get it to you tomorrow. That's all right. I've only been back today, and then I had things to sort out today. It's been a pretty big week. If I sound a bit tired, I probably am. If I look a bit tired, I also probably am. But anyway. But I'll get to it tomorrow, and I'll get you a tracking number. This is onshape, so I won't say too much about my week. Till tomorrow, maybe. Might add another screen in. I meant to have that done, and I never. I've got something stuck under my mouse. Sound clunk, clunk, clunk. There you go. We'll add another screen in. That's these bits. Looking at it, something like, hey, Mark. Hey, Lee. That's them. That's the first major parts for the donation box. I think they'll clean up all right, put a coat of paint on them. They'll look good. They've only got to be strong. They don't really have to be anything else much. Piece of timber across the top. And think about the rest of the bits. You're going to have to find a pulley for that, and some studs to go between the legs. One of which will have a tread lock. Anyway, that's done. So, as much as I'm dreading it because I'm really not prepared, we've got this low angle block plane we need to finish. And it's nearly finished. I'm going to do one bit on that and then we might go on and do something else. We've got most of the bits done. We haven't got this part done. Let's have a look. I could move this over here like this, but I am pretty sunburnt, guys. I'm pretty worn out. So this is it. It's hollow in the back there. It's quite uniform through here, so I think it's just probably a cutout. There's some interesting challenges in this. It's round on the back there, right? A cutout shape is this shape. If we look at the basic format of it, there's a cutout this shape. It's got a hollow in the back here, so it touches on the front, not on here. It's got a curve in the top. Probably leaving the complicated part till last, to be honest. This has got two little knobs in it, and this sits down with don't know if you can see that, it's got a notch in there. And sort of a ramp that moves up and down. It's got a patent number on it. I don't know if we'll go that far. It's got a slot in here, and it's got a pin for this piece. So there's a pin there. So on this one, sort of, it's got to be loose, I think, so that this will go up and down. And this little cam lever. So interesting. We got 40mm wide. It's about close enough to 98mm long. And it's got a ball on the end that's, I guess, 40mm diameter. But it's also not a perfect ball shape, which will be fun. It's not a ball shape. We're going to have a look at this. It's not a ball shape this way, because this diameter here, when it comes around here, it's a bigger diameter here than it is this way. Right, this on the back's got a tape all the way through. This surface in here is flat, right? And this one here has got a taper up here. So I guess the thing to do is to make something that shape. And a curve this shape and then project this around, I think. So I don't think it's exactly 40mm this way either, the diameter. I think it's higher than that. I think the actual, can we see that? The actual radius point is up here somewhere, which is nearly 30mm. I'm going to give up on this. This is a really difficult bit. I've not been looking forward to it, but let's see how we go. Oh. Pretty parched lips. I've had a big week. Anyway, that's where we're at with that. I've been working in the sun sort of 6 hours a day, sort of, for the last week. All right, let's have a look. This is what we've got. Now, everyone says, blow your cursor up. I don't know how to do that. My cursor on this screen here. You can see that it's tiny. Had some criticism about this, and there are people that would use it if it was more user-friendly, and I need to do sort of a transcript, and I don't think YouTube does that audio as much as people think it does. I'm not sure it does. I'll have to look into that. I don't know how. Restream won't blow the cursor up, and I don't have an answer for that. So sorry, guys. I'll look into it ASAP. Anyway, down here in our drawing, basically we've got all these bits here. Hey, JB. G'day. We're going to create a part studio here. New part studio. Down here it says part studio 1. And we're going to rename that to Capital or Cap. Let's just call that Cap. Looking at the top of it. I don't know how you do that. Put a sketch on the top pane, and then we're going to probably center point rectangle. Do that again. Make sure it connects on the center point there. And we're going to go 198 mil, we said, by 40 mil. I believe this has a curve on it. There's a couple of ways we could do that. We could just fill it that one and that way, and that's probably the easiest. That, and where it says 5, we put 20 in. There you go. So that's the top view. That's pretty straightforward. Let's have a look at the side view. All right. Go to the front here. And there's the bottom plane. Let's draw a sketch on here. I think we're going to cut the pieces out afterwards. But from this point here, which is 20 mil back, how deep is it? Let's grab a ruler again. Have a bit of a look. 30 mil deep. So at that point it's 30 mil deep. Let's put a construction line in there. Someone tell me how to put a construction line in. I've said that enough times. It sort of sunk in. We press Q, or we click on this button up here. Construction line from... let's use this line first. What's happening here? The sketch. There we go. Sketch. Let's choose a sketch plane. We'll put it on there, and then we'll use this line. We didn't put a sketch plane in, and we'll do that. And a construction line. So we press Q, and up here from that mark, we're going to go 30 mil. Now there's a radius around that. Don't know who did this. It's a bit of a work of art. It's not really a radius as such. It sort of is. What happens if we put in here a 3-point arc between here and there? We'll say a 32 mil. Oh, it looks about right. 30, whatever looks right. Don't know, that looks about right. This has 40 millimeters look. Yeah, let's call that 40 millimeter radius there. We're guessing this a bit. So that's that shape. And then the radius on this sweeping curve through here. Looking at the side of it. Looking at the end of it, if we go to the end there, we've got this line here and this line here, and a new sketch. We finalise that and we put a new sketch on this plane. And then that's not going to work because it needs to be on this plane. Let's do this. We'll put a new plane in. So over here is the plane tool. This one here, plane. Now, we want a plane, line angle plane from this line at 0 degrees. If we click OK there, that puts a plane right there where we need it. And then we can put a sketch on that plane. I'm so done. Sketch on plane 1. We can also click plane 1 over here if we need to. And if we use the project tool and that line and that line and that line on there, we can make how's a 3.8 arc look from there to there. Not anywhere close. It's actually, we put a line in here like this. There's a lot of messing around for this part. We just put a line like that and measure it from there to there at 20 millimeters. Let's see if this works. Let's call that 18. Let's try 18. And then we put a measurement between there and there, which 20. Let's try 19 for that. Yeah. Let's measure this one and make this 38. There we go. And that gives us sort of what we want. Is anyone following? Because I'm not. 3-point arc from from here to there with a 19mm radius. Is wrong. So it's not far out. That'll mess it up. There we go. And we can draw a line down here, I think. Does that look right? Something like that shape. Put a line on that side. What's everyone up to tonight? So that's given us that plane there, and that plane there, and that plane there. If we can make, gosh, so if we can do a thing here, a surface is what we want. Let's try fill this edge. Right, that gives us the wrong shape, but we need a guide. We use this one. You see what we've done there? We used a guide to bring that out. And it's not even close to the right shape. There you go. Interesting. What we can do always we can do this. You gotta watch under a heavy rock, poor old JB. You're gonna watch me make a fool of myself here. So now what we need to do, let's fill this one first. Like so. Right? We've got an actual physical object there. Now, if we go along here to this, we've got a circular pattern. We click this entity to pattern, and we call the axis of the pattern that line. And we want to fill 180 degrees. We want an instant count of 8, for example. Come on, do this. 8. And it's done it around the half there. Opposite direction doesn't help that. Centered might. There we go. And instances to skip is that one, that one. Click on those dots, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, There, that's sort of more like it. Now, if we delete that one, we can't do that. Peter hasn't got his yet. I didn't send it, but thanks, JB. We're getting there with that. Let's see if we make this work now. Turn that sketch on. The edges are here. Right. And our guides should be that one. Not that one. That one. That one. And that one. And it doesn't work. Very interesting, but not even close. This is going to be a fun part. Anyone who's got any Control Z on that one. And you know what, that didn't work. Because it's got to be different, that. What we need is a line around this way, the same as this. Let's delete that fill. That gives us that. If we put a sketch on this line, so if we go a new plane here, this is a bit tricky. Plane like that. And we put a sketch on that plane, which is going to be fun because we've got to poke that out there. Or we just click that one for the sketch plane. Right, and then the project line there for that one. On this sketch here, this is what we need to do. So we'll start sketch 4, and then we'll edit this one. No, we'll edit this one. That doesn't work either. This is a fun part, isn't it? Let's go back to sketch 4 and see what we can do here. I'll put a 3-point arc between the end of that one, end of that one, and where this needs to do is the intersection there. here we go. If we go up here to the top, and on this one, which is on this plane, we use the use tool and project that one. There we go. Now we've got that line. Look at that. There we go. Why not revolve the upright? Because it doesn't quite work. Because it's not the same curve that way as that way, you see, by that much. This one here is different. And revolving the upright will give us a different angle or a different shape on the top here. So that's a very good question, and it might sort of work if we weren't trying to copy something else. Anyway, we can put a curve on there, like so. And that's not what we want, is it? It doesn't work. What we want to do can't trim that. What we need to do is make that line a physical line on that sketch on the top there. This is proving to be interesting. So just for the challenge, I'm not sure. I think we'll all learn something here. But what we need to do is intersect that line and that line. So here, that's what we need to do. Let's delete that. And we'll put another sketch, sketch 5, on this front plane. If we go here to the front, we can then use that line. I've just deleted that. And we're going to put a line out here because we should have left that in place. What did we do? We just used that line, didn't we? Right. Now we've got that line. Now if we make a new sketch on the front plane, and we use this line and this line, we can then trim that line there like that. We've got that line there, like so. And sketch 4, we need to leave that in place, don't we? What sketch is that? Because if we delete that, all right, let's make another sketch on plane 2. All right, now what we need to do is select that line and that line, like so, and then we need to make a 3-point arc between this point here, up to this point here. And that gives us the right, there we go, look at us go. There we go. Now, if we use that as a guide, and that as a guide, we should nearly make this work. So, what we need to do is use this fill and use this as an edge here like this, and this one as an edge. That gives us a funny shape like that. But what we can do is use this one here as a guide. And this one here as a guide. And if we do that and click OK, what we have is a shape. Look at that. So it is doable. There's a transition curve from that curve there to that curve there. And it should be right. We click on sketch 1. Now, if we fill this space here, it'll give us a flat surface there. Right, and fill again, and fill the underneath one, like so. They should give us an enclosed surface. If we do that, we now have a solid, which is one part. See that? What we can do is extrude this surface and this surface of the solid along, like so. And we don't have to measure this, but what we need to do is go up to vertex, I think, which is, no, wrong one, up to next. No. Up to surface or part. No. We might have to do this blind. What was this here? 20 mil, 98, 78 mil. Let's do it that way. And that's sort of given us the shape, right? Like so. Now from here down through here, probably got a sharp edge on there. Don't know. We could press P and turn off all the planes. And we could turn off some of those sketches that are still on so that it doesn't confuse us. Like so. We've still got this sharp edge on here. And we could probably cheat a bit. And put a fillet around there. Except that doesn't work. No. We might have to live with it. See, there's a sharp corner there. You're not going to notice that so much. But this one here, you might. See, if we look at that, it's actually not terrible around there. We might not notice it. Got a funny little dent there and a funny little, is there a dent on the other side? Oh, the other side's very good. Don't know why it's got a funny little dent there. Anyway. So looking at this, if we put a sketch on front surface, front plane, we don't have to turn the planes on to do that. And we'll put a 3-point arc starting right on that corner. I don't know, I reckon that's about the centre of that arc stops. Yep, we're going to go with that, 49 mil. So, and at 47 it is, and it's about 7 mil deep. So if we put that in there, we'll put a radius on there. No idea what shape it is. We can put dimensions on it later. If we put dimensions from here to here, here to there, we'll call that 7 millimeters, something like that. We put a measurement from here to there, and we'll call that 48. Like so. And we put a spline here. Probably we don't use splines very much. Between there and there. Press escape. And we've got 2 dots here. We can escape, escape. Control Z on that one. And we can get hold of that and we can pull this up here like, pull this one up. Oh, that's getting a bit tricky. And that's sort of what shape it is it? Going to remeasure this measurement. It looks a bit narrow to me. Yeah, I reckon it's at least 8. So we're going to change this one to 8 millimeters. That looks better. Okay. So let's see what it looks like. If we continue this sketch, put a line from there, roughly like this, something like that. It don't really need to be particularly good. This turns dark, which means that we can extrude it. From part 1. I don't know if that's something like what it should look like. I've got no idea. But anyway, there's the part. Still some tricky work in this. There really is. Yeah. There is some tricky work in that. Now, it should be reasonably easy. If we try this probably won't work, but we've got this thing here called a shell tool. The faces to remove is this one. It won't do it for some reason. Could not shell that part. Hey, James. Okay, we've got a part, but what we need to do is make it hollow in here. What I think we're going to do, I don't know if this is really the way to do it or not, but we're going to split it on this line, right, into two pieces. And then we're going to hollow this one, and then we're going to do some work on this one. I think that works. So what we need to do here is this one here is a split. We want to split this part. The entity to split with is plane 1. There we go. Now we've got two parts, right? Part 1 and part 2. If we turn off part 2, we've just got part 1. Then if we shell that, right? It won't do that for us either. We'll get that out of the way. Will do it for us, but it'll do it that way, see? Hey, James. That's not what we want, though. What I won't do is hollow this out. So what we need to do, this is how we do it. The Kookaburra thinks it's funny. I think it's funny too. What we have here is a move, faces to move. What we can do is that needs to be what? 2 millimeter, 1.6 millimeters thick, and we can do this. Right, that's sort of what we need. But we need to copy it, not move it. Right. I'm going to come back to that one because I didn't know that was there. Modify fillet. We can have a look at that. delete face, move face, replace face. You got me going now, guys. This one's a challenge. Here we go. I know how we do it. Righto. What we do is click on this. We copy part 1. No, it's not going to work. Delete face. What we want to do is offset this. Offset surface, that's what we want. There we go. .6 millimeters. It can't offset that surface, right? All right, let's do it like this. Right, another sketch on here. We're going to use the project tool again. Project this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one onto the sketch. Right, and then we're going to do this. We're going to offset this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. We can only offset one chain at once. We'll make that 1.6 because we're thinking 1.8, I think we're going to go. And we're going to go that way, and we're going to right, like so. And we're going to mirror that. Select the mirror line. We're going to turn our planes back on. Go around here to the left. We're going to use that plane line as a mirror line. And we're going to mirror that one and that one. We're going to draw a line across there to there. We could probably just use the derive tool for that, the use tool. We're going to cut this one. We're going to cut this one. Get rid of that mark. We're going to cut that one out. We're going to cut that one out. And hide that part and make sure we've got an actual can't trim that one because we've already put a... So, we've done that. Now, if we do the same here, and a sketch on the bottom here, the birds. Don't know what that bird is. Let's do the same here. Right, on this sketch, we're going to go there and there. Use them. Then we're going to select this one, which is the offset. And we're going to offset this one. And it says we can offset both of them. We go 1.6. So we said 1.8. We said 1.8. Must have said 1.8. Okay, now, gee whiz. There's got to be an easy way, because I don't think this is going to work. We've got that there. I'm going to delete them off there, or I'll hide them at least until we work out what we're going to do. We should be able to make a shell of that without any problems at all. We should be able to shell that. What else have we got? Body draft, fillet, face blend, thicken, and close. What do you think? Anyone? Golly. It's a fun thing. If I do this, let's try this. If we suppress this, we can just suppress that split so it's all one piece. Before we do anything, we're probably going to use face blend. So oops, we've dropped our phone. I feel like it's really fixed that. In fact, I'm going to delete that because it didn't do any favors to us at all. What happens if we use the shell function here. It has problems with this. Don't do that. Okay. That's what I'm thinking. Yes, if we copied this part, we're going to unsuppress that. And we're going to put part 2 away for a bit. If we can copy this part, what we need to do is duplicate that part. We can delete it. We can zoom into selection. We can select data. We can select it. We can export it. We can create a drawing of it. We can copy it, yes. But what we can't do is paste it. What we can do is this. Transform. Parts of transform. And we can go down here and we can copy in place. That's how we do it. Click OK. Now we have a part 3. We turn part 1 off. You can't tell them apart. If we do this, edit the appearance of part 3, we can make this a different color momentarily. So there we go. We've got a grey one, we've got an orange one, we've got a grey one over the top. Now, part 3. Thanks, Peter. That's what we need to do. So part 3, we can use this, which is move face. Face to move. .8 millimeters. And we can, the opposite direction. So it's 1.8 millimeters smaller. And click OK. And if we turn part 1 on, we've got that. And what we can do there is a Boolean union. So we can subtract. We use our tool to subtract as part 3. And our target is part 1. Oh, you legends, look at that. And that's what we've got, sort of. Right, thank you, Peter. We just had to think that through a little bit better. We can turn on part 2 again. And we've got that shape. Righto. So, geez Louise, this is a bit tricky. If we select part 2 here, let's see if we can hollow that. It might make a shell of this. It doesn't. It does it that way, but that's not what we want to do. It doesn't do it that way and that way. It does do it that way and that way. Look at that. if we do this, look at this. We turn that off. Remove that face too. Yeah, okay. And we turn part 1 on. You legend. Look at that. Somewhere near where we need to be. Jeepers creepers. Now, this has got a shape in here. Help. It's got a shape in here. If we turn off part 1, we'll work on part 2 here. We go look at the bottom here. There's a shape in here. So if we put a sketch on here like this, on this part, on this surface, on the face of that part, and we draw a line through there like that, something like that. Just for example, we put a measurement on this between there and there at bend 1.8. And maybe 3.8 from there. We'll zoom that in like this. We worked out how to do that, something like that. I think that radius needs to be about 3.5 mil. There we go. Except it's not like that. What it is, what are we modelling? We'll have another look. JB's still there, so we might as well humour him and show him. We'll zoom this out. And we'll put a line through here somewhere. We'll press Q. And this one here needs a measurement on it from here to here. We were pretty close, 62 mil. Now, what are we modelling? Assembly 1. There we go. What we have, JB, is a Stanley 110 block plane. That's what we're making, which looks very similar to this. Holding it back to front so it looks the same on the camera is almost impossible, but that's what we've got. So that's where we're at. And this is the last piece, which is the end cap, which looks something like that. Let's go back here and have a look at it. So a line here, a construction line from here through to here. This point here must be the pivot point. And disregard that circle we put in there before. On this pivot point, there needs to be a circle that's 17 millimeters diameter. Like that. And this one here needs to fit this one with the radius of the... So rather than sit this one up here, that's got to be back here. So from there, I'm going to put a line in here like this. Something like that. I'm going to make that a construction line. We can do that afterwards by pressing Q. We're going to put a measurement on there between that one and that one. We're going to make that 3.5 millimeters. Right. Now, we're going to get rid of this. We're going to delete that off there. And we're going to do the same thing here. So 3-point arc from there to there. To there. It's about 4 millimeters. 4 is probably a bit big. Let's go 3.5. Like so. And we want a line from tangent, which is here. And we can't do that for some reason. There's no tangent, there's no place they match up. So let's put a line in here. Somewhere that looks sort of good. And we'll trim that one. This is just a... Trim this out of here, something like this. We'll extend that one. It's probably the easiest way is to extend this line so it comes through there. Or out to there, it's at least, and then we can trim that. M is the shortcut for trim. We can cut that out and that out and that out. We've got that line there, and then all we need to do is mirror that. Right, and this one. We can trim this one. And this one. We can draw a line across here like this. And for some reason that doesn't work. Because for some reason we've got this distance to this distance is not the same as this distance to this distance. We put 1.8 there. This extrusion here shell, let's go back and look at that. Shell thickness is 2.5. That's why we haven't changed that. 1.8. There we go. Let's do that and click that. Now when we go to sketch 10, it adds up. And if we extrude that, we extrude sketch 10, right, and remove it. We only want to come up 2 mil. We want to go the other way. There we go. Don't work. There's a draft on that, see? Let's see if we can do that. There must be a scientific way to do that. There we go. I'll put a draft on that. It looks like it's probably going to work. If we turn on part 2, interestingly, not even close to matching up. Well, what's going on here? Look at that. We're going to have to go back, and this one's much too thin. So when I resize that one, transform 1, I think. No. Move face 1. Let's try that. We'll edit that. 0.8 instead of 1.8. 1.8. We'll click that. That should have fixed that. There we go. What a crazy part. Now, we can easily split it again in the future, but what I'm going to do probably is join them up. This one and this one. Gives us back to one part. And I'm going to do this, which might work. They did some interesting things. What does this say? So this is let's not do that. Anyway, we've sort of got it. We should be able to smooth this surface here. This one, and side 2 is this one. I'm just sort of guessing this one. I don't know if that's going to fix it or not. It really hasn't. It's giving me some ugly things. Not going to bother with that. Anyway, there we go. Not an easy thing at all to join up. See, this doesn't add up here properly. That's not going to work. All right, so anyway, interesting part. Very interesting part. From 9 o'clock already. Tomorrow's not a work day, but oh gosh. Going to be tearing my hair out about this. And the one thing we can do here, well, that might be last. Let's turn sketch 10 on. Zoom it in a bit. That's our point there. We need a sketch on top here, on the top surface, and we'll make that 17 millimeters, that circle the same. Sort of. And we'll use this use a project button here. It's probably the best. This one has sort of a line across here. About there, across to about there somewhere. We're going to guess this. And we're going to mirror it. And we'll see what, or one. Let's try mirror. We'll use that line. We'll mirror this one and this one. And we'll do some trimming. We'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. That's gone red because it doesn't like it's deleting the derived. There we go. We'll match them up there. To that one, which we didn't. Control Z fixes that. I'm sort of, gosh, I don't feel like I've achieved very much. But what we have here is a shape, and if we extrude that, looks like it pops up about what, 1, 2, 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters. Probably 3 millimeters. Like so. That gives us that shape. I think we've had enough. Hey, Jamar. I feel like I've had enough. This is sort of doing my head in. What I'd like to do is fill up these corners before we go. Put a chamfer in there. There and there. Is that how that looks? Probably something like that. Anyway, that gives us something. I'm sort of, what a job. I could work on this for hours and still not find that part. But that's what we've got. Let's put it in our assembly as it is. Right, we'll insert it in our assembly. Cap. Like so. We'll see how it looks. We'll call this mate connector here. Oh, I don't know where's our mate connectors about. It's not really there. We'll have to offset it. That's not the right one. What we want is we'll pull this out later, but let's put a fasten mate on here. That's what we want. I'll offset it on the X. Not enough. Edit that. 30. And then we need to offset it in the Z. How thick did we make the blade? 2.5. This is going to come out, this one, but it'll give you some idea. Righto. It sort of looks like it's meant to be there. Probably. Golly, what a crazy piece. Goes quite a bit further back up so you can read the Stanley. So let's change that and we'll have a talk about it. That looks about right. It's somewhere there. There we go. That's where it should be, I think. Something like that, it looks like. Still needs a fair bit of work in it, but it's got a textured surface. It's got raised keyhole in there, and it's got a little flippy lever that's all cut out. Geez Louise. There we go. That's good. More about the roller tomorrow night, Mark. But look, no, I'm making it fit in the shed is where we're at when we put another engine in front of it. That's the main argument I've used for removing it. I believe that that basket is an abomination and it should stay off. And I have no intention of putting it back on. And last time I wanted to take it off, I met with quite a lot of resistance in the club because it holds more wood and it's this and it's that and people can ride in it and so forth and so on and etc. 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 Now because we need the space in the shed apparently, we can pull it off. So I've done that. And I'm going to put it away somewhere. And Saturday's job, I believe, is to pull it out, wash the boiler out, give it a good steam clean, and get it back in the other way around a bit further up the shed, and probably pull the injector off, which means a pretty big weekend. But I've got 3 or 4 days to relax before then. I've still got a lot to do. But that's where we're at with it. I'm not going to pull the tender apart or do anything there. We need to sort the injector out. That's sort of what we're leading up to. So that's why I have the basket off. I firmly believe that the basket is an abomination. Before your creator and Cthulhu or anyone else, it's really a terrible 1970s item or 1980s, 1990s Australian restoration item that has no part on the steamroller. But at this point, I'm winning that battle. 3 months ago, I wasn't. It's already been off twice and I put it back on. So we need to sort out the injector and we need to clean the thing up. We need to take the fire bars out before Saturday and clean it up quite considerably afterwards. I'd like to clean the ash pan up, give that a coat of paint, and all those sort of things. I need to get under it and pull the ash pan, the fire bars out. That's not fun. And yeah, more soon about that. But honestly, bit of a job. Anyway, that's what's happening with that. There's all sorts of stuff happening this last week. I caught up with Mark. I caught up with other people. I've done some artwork. I've been to the foundry and cast these 2 little legs. Don't know if anyone saw them. These are a rough casting, but they'll clean up, I think. They don't have to be perfect. They're certainly not. But they need some firework. They're just aluminium. Looking at the patterns we've made, these patterns aren't particularly good. We'll have a look at these. This is for our donation box. And this is what we've got. So there we go. I'm going to give these a good clean up with a file and rub around with a Dremel. This leg here has come out very nicely. This one, it's not terrible. This one will clean up. This one needs a bit more work. This leg's quite nice. Same deal though, this one needs a fair bit of work with a Dremel. They'll file up. We'll sit that on with a piece of board between the top and the bottom and probably some rods or something. Don't know what. Between the bottom and the ends. Get threaded rod and some nuts, or we could make something up specially. And with the board across the top, that'll give us our lathe bed. And it needs a 60mm pulley in there. And that'll give us a little treadle lathe. So that's a job that I'd like at some point this week to get cleaned up when I finish making everyone else happy. I've got projects for myself and they just haven't happened, to be honest. And I'm not sure when they will. But I feel like, yeah, I've got to get something done on one of my projects. Don't know which one. Anyway, that's probably it. Is those two little castings is probably about all I will actually get done, because I've got to get this shed somewhere neat and tidy and stuff put away without any projects going on to keep everyone happy. And when we've done that, sorted out the steamroller, there's another roller coming in, and there's another engine coming in eventually, which could be another 6 months away. I don't know. So we've got to make room for that, and I've got projects to do, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, I might call this live stream. Thanks, guys, for keeping me company while I've figured this out. It's not a particularly easy part by any means. Bit of a challenge to that. I believe all we've got to do now is cut the back out here, cut the keyhole in. Think about putting a textured pattern on top, and this profile underneath, which isn't quite flat. And maybe we're getting to the point that we're going to put it all together. But yep. Anyway, be kind to each other. I'm probably going to have a look at some photos on my camera before I go to bed and read some emails and go and find some dinner, because I haven't really had any. And we'll catch you around. Thanks, guys. I'm out.